Yeah. Let's do it. If you know you got favor on your life, sing this.
I love it. The favor of God is all over me.
Yeah.
I got it, and I love
I got it.
it. The favor of God is all over me. I got it, and I love it. The favor of God is all over me. I got it, and I love it.
Favor.
The favor of God is all over me.
And I ain't even asked for this, y'all.
And it ain't my fault.
Hey, yeah. Why you mad at me?
And it ain't my fault.
I want to do that again, A-Rod. Say, I got it. Yeah.
And I love it.
Favor.
The favor of God is all over me. I got it, and I love it. The favor of God is all over
I
me.
got it.
I got it, and I love it.
You love it?
The favor of
I
God
love it.
is all over me. I got it, and I love it.
God gave it to me. It's all over me. And it ain't even my fault.
And it ain't my fault.
Hey. Yeah. If you know favor's on your life, say,
And it ain't my fault.
favor ain't fair, but it surely is fun. Say, it ain't
And it ain't my fault.
my fault. It's like favor be talking to y'all.
And it ain't my fault.
Listen, we got a verse. It says this, say, God gave it to me.
God gave it to me. His favor never stops following me.
He's got his hand on me.
He's got his hand on me. That's why no weapon formed against me shall
We ain't giving up.
We ain't never giving up.
We keep it moving.
Giving on because it strengthens us.
And I know that it shows
It shows
everywhere.
everywhere that I go.
Say, I got it.
I got it, and I love it.
Yeah.
Favor of God is all over me. I got it, and I love it.
The favor.
Favor of God is all over me. I got it, and I love it. The favor of God is all over me. I got it, and I love it. The favor of God is all over me.
I need you to say it ain't my fault.
Good morning, Dr. J.
Good morning, Gary. Good morning, everybody. You're listening to Morning Coffee with the Word, and I'm Dr. J.
And I am the president.
How
How
are
are
you
you,
doing
Dr.
this morning?
Oh, here comes everyone. Good morning. Good
I
morning,
see.
Amanda.
Good morning, Amanda. How are you? Good morning, nephew, Christopher Findley. Good morning.
Good morning. Somebody is commenting from Elevate Life Ministries page, and they have admins. So has to be Pops or it has to be the lovely wife
Okay.
that is commenting. So good morning. Good morning. Good morning, Christopher.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Good morning, Kevin. How are you?
There's Kevin. Kevin's on. Dr. J, I am so excited today. We have a special guest
Yes, we
that
do.
is going to share testimony. But before we do, before we get into
Morning, Tia.
how everybody week was, we need everyone to go out, like, tag, and share. This is one of the morning shows that you do not want to share and let somebody miss. That didn't make sense. This is
Nope.
one of the shows that you want to like, tag, and share. There, it's still early in the morning, Dr. J. I'm still on my
It's
second
okay.
cup of coffee, so please forgive me. But go out and share. This is going to be a testimony that you want to definitely share with every young person
Yes.
and every person that is going through some things. Good morning, Pops. There he is.
Morning,
Good
D-Rep.
Bishop-elect Rodney Phillips. We had a good old time, Dr. J, last night on the forum on with Devotion Ministries.
I
And
know I missed it. I was doing talking with someone, ministering to someone, and I kept looking at the corner of my eye, kept looking at the time, and I was like, ugh, okay, but
but you know
ministry.
what, Dr. J? You know what? That this social media, this Facebook Live, this YouTube thing, we can go back and watch it.
Well, yeah,
At
that's true.
at
That's
our
true.
we
Definitely.
can.
Definitely. And I
Um,
will.
So I'm just going out and I'm sharing. I'm sharing out today's show. We are Wayne Township. Love you too, sir. Love you
Love
too.
you too, D Rep.
Uh,
You know.
we the Facebook admin um let us broadcast in the Wayne Township Facebook group. So we
Okay.
have some people watching there. We're
Okay.
in Brownsburg, the Brownsburg group. So we have some people there. And then I'm going to put us in this the largest entrepreneur group on Facebook, which I'm an admin on. We're going to put us in there. So I'm just sharing it out today, Dr. J.
Yeah, we're
Sharing this
yeah.
out.
Well, this young man that and he'll be coming on in a few minutes. Um, he is an amazing young man. Now, I don't have to say this, but I'm going to say this. I need everyone to have an open heart. Everyone here knows that Gary and I are very transparent, and the people that come in our path and that we know, they're very transparent of their backgrounds and why, the wins and the where. It bothers me when people want to be judgmental. So I'm asking that you open your heart and hear what God has done and how He's done it in this young man's life. We're just going to talk, just like we're talking now, but I need everyone to hear. To me, every African American male, especially every male, but especially every African American male, need to hear this, that with God, all things are possible. And you have to want to be able to change some things. And when you do that, it's going to happen. So I am I've been excited, Gary, ever since I called him. God dropped him in my spirit um, after we got off the show last week.
Uh-huh.
Matter of fact, while we were talking with Pastor Wilford, God dropped him in my spirit, and as soon as we got off the air, I gave him a call and told him, what we do or what have you, and that I wanted him to be on the show. He didn't hesitate. He didn't say, "Let me think about it. Let me pray about it." He didn't say. He said, "Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I'll do it. I'll do it." And then later on in the week, he reached out to me. We talked a little bit, and so I asked him. I said, "Is anything off limits?" He said, "No, ma'am. No, ma'am." I said, "Okay." So I have been ecstatically happy that we're able to get him on, as I was with different people that we have to come on. I get excited, like when we had Lady Monica, come on. Oh
Mhm.
man, I was stupid excited with her as well. So hi Angie, how are you this morning?
Good
So
morning.
I'm really looking forward to this. So all week I've been in a pretty good headspace, just because of the person that we have coming on.
So how was your week, Dr. J? How are you feeling?
You
Um,
know what? I'm actually feeling really good. I still, because I still have some of a little bit of the side effects. Like I can get winded very easily. But I don't know if it's so much from the COVID, or if it's coming from the asthma, or if it's coming from both of them. But it's not so winded that I need to take my inhaler. As a matter of fact, I have not done a nebulizer treatment in about 3 weeks now, and where I was taking my inhaler at least 2 or 3 times a day. I haven't taken my inhaler now for about 2 or 3 days now, so I'm feeling good. I really am. Uh, I'm precautious. I'm mindful of where I go because of I only had the one shot. So I'm very mindful of that. And people coming around or people coming to my house. Now, once I have the second shot and it's in my system and all of that, then I feel that I'll be able to relax just a little more. I'll still wear my mask and continue with the social distancing as the part of the guidelines for the CDC, but I won't be as anal as I am now. But I'm feeling great. I'm feeling amazing. Sleeping well at night, not waking up coughing. So I'm good. God. God did His thing, and I give Him all the glory for it.
Yes, ma'am. You are looking good. You sound good. Doesn't
Thank
sound like you're
you.
grasping for air like you was a couple weeks ago. I was like,
Yeah,
Dr. Daniel, are you sure that
yeah.
you're good? Because I'm getting ready to drive the ambulance over there and come get you.
No,
Um,
but that
but
was, Gary, that was such a scary time for me. And as I said to you, and I didn't say it like in the words, but I knew that my, especially my daughter and my son, when I told them, I felt that if I'd gone to the hospital, that they would not have brought me out the way that I went in. And I believe that because it was a terrible experience. And so, because God has allowed me to come out of it with very little side effects, that I'm still very, very precautious. Very precautious. Good morning, son from Powerhouse Racing.
there he
Good
is.
morning. Yeah.
That's
So,
good.
but yeah, I am. I'm feeling good. It doesn't. I don't have to take as many breaths, in between, me talking in between conversations. So yeah, God is good, and I feel amazing.
That's good. And I'm glad that you're feeling amazing. I've had a crazy week. Um, I've been working. And I thank God for that. Um, the computer guy is busy. You could tell that the season has changed, and
Mm-hmm.
um, people want things done. So I'm happy about that. I just got to remember to rest.
Yes, do
Rest.
that. Do that. Do
Uh,
that. You're not getting any younger,
I
and
know it.
it's definitely yes, D Rep, you thank God for healing you. Ooh, for my healing. Yes, Lord. Yes, Lord. Gary, I just got a text from our guest, and he said, do I click on enter broadcast?" And I told him to hold on a minute.
Yes, yes.
So,
Just click on enter broadcast as soon as I see him pop in.
okay.
We will bring him on the screen. But how was everybody else's week? Y'all type in the comments. How was your week? If you had a bad week, put that you had a bad week, and we're going to make sure at the end of this broadcast that we'll pray that the Lord will change that for next week. Uh,
Yeah.
so it's okay because there's some weeks I've had some bad weeks.
Woo!
Jay knows um, the times that I had some bad weeks, and I just call her and be like, "I'm ready. I'm getting ready to throw in this towel. I'm getting ready to wave this white
Not an
flag."
option. It's not an option. I
That's
just
exactly
told
what
him
she
that he
said.
could do it now. No, it's not an option because Gary, here it is. Um,
We're
uh,
definitely gonna be
the
praying for you.
enemy. Yes, Amanda, we will be praying for you. We, the enemy hear us when we put it in the atmosphere. And people say, well, don't complain, don't complain. That's not complaining. It's stating a fact. I am tired. But yes, in our tiredness, um, we don't stop depending on God, and we don't give up. The problem comes in is when you say that you're tired and you say, I'm gonna give up, and you do, and you throw in the towel. you're not using your faith, and you're not, 9 times out of 10 you haven't used all of your resources to get you where you need to be, or maybe that one resource you haven't tapped into. And so don't allow yourself to try not to become so overwhelmed that you want to give up, and then you give up, because we all get to the point, you know what, I'm done, I'm just done. But yet being done is not an option. You had a bad week, Christopher. I pray that this week is a whole lot better. I saw some things on Facebook. Everybody, Christopher is my nephew. And he's another young man that I'm going to bring on so that you can hear his story and testimony.
Yes.
But everything is going to be okay, Chris. Everything is
Yes.
going to be fine. Oh, my sister in love is on, Yolanda. She's
Hey,
from
Dr. J,
Texas.
our guest just arrived. He is in the
Okay.
United States. I'm getting ready to bring him on the screen.
Okay. Hey,
Uh,
Yolanda. Thank you, sister in law.
there we go.
Okay.
Good
Good
morning.
morning, Arthur. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing good. How you guys doing?
Good, good. I am so excited. You know what? Anybody who knows me knows that I love Luther Vandross, okay? And you right up there. You are right up there. I am so excited for you to be on this morning and to share your testimony with us. Um, it's it's going to be amazing. It's going to be amazing. So you know what? We're going to go right into it. Gary, you want to go ahead and go into it, or you want to do our first break and bring him back, or you want to talk a little bit? How you want to go about it?
Let's go ahead and go right into it. And
Okay.
if we need to take a break, we'll take a break. If the Lord says different, then we just keep going.
Okay, all right. So I want to introduce this young man to everyone. His name is Arthur Humes. I've been knowing Arthur, I think, since they were in kindergarten. He is good friend to my daughter. Everybody know Tia. And they have another friend who they're close with. Her name is Malia. They all graduated from Lew Wallace High School, and they came to Indianapolis to go to IUPUI. All three of them did, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, I know Tia and Malia had an apartment together their first year. Arthur, didn't you come in with them?
No, I stayed in the same apartment complex.
Same complex. Okay.
They
Okay.
built.
Yeah. So I've been knowing him a long time. So because of some things that Arthur has gone through, and I think what makes him so amazing to me is how he has not allowed his past to dictate his future. And once you all hear his story, once you hear him and talk, you're gonna think that he's just as dope as I do. Okay, and if you don't, too bad. His mom, who is his definite number one cheerleader, I'm number two, maybe three or four, because he got some aunts that is just like he is the bomb.com. Okay, so Arthur, the floor is yours. Tell us a little bit about yourself, and then I'm going to ask you one question, and that's going to take us right into our conversation.
Okay. All right. So good morning, everybody. Like Miss Linda said, I'm Arthur Humes Jr. Got to put that in there. Arthur Humes Sr. is my father. But like you said, I born and raised in Gary. I've been knowing your daughter Tia for pretty much my whole life. Been knowing Belia my whole life. We went to elementary school. We didn't go to junior high because I went to a different junior high school, but we grew up in the same neighborhood. You know, I grew up right down the street from Belia. Went to the same high school, went to the same college. We were always close. We've always been close, even still to today. At 41, we're still close.
Yes.
Graduated, went to IUPUI, and after I left IUPUI, my life took a turn. I'm not gonna say for the worse, but it definitely took a different turn than anybody was expecting.
Yeah.
Nobody.
Okay. So with that, Arthur, here's my first question to you.
Okay.
Why?
Perfect example of a young kid trying to be something that he's not. It doesn't get any more simple than that. Perfect
Okay.
example of that. Just to give you a backdrop, like I said, I was going to school for criminal justice. Ironically, was going to school for criminal justice, and just started doing some things I had no business doing. Ended up going to prison for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, from the age of 21, went in at 21, came home at 35. So I did 13 years and 8 months to be exact. It was the most difficult thing I have ever had to deal with in my life. But I had a purpose. God had a purpose for me. So he kept his hands on me the entire time. Blessed me with a loving family and friends to keep me sane, because being incarcerated is not easy. People see me and they look and they say, and they hear my story and they're like, "There's no way you did prison time," because prison has this stigma that when you come home you're supposed to be this hardened criminal, or you're supposed to think a certain way or act a certain way. But at the end of the day, I was somebody who was doing something that I wasn't raised to be like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know that as well.
Yes.
So it was just one of those cases where just trying to be something that I'm not, and ended up having to. I don't like to say I wasted years, because I don't think I wasted any years. It put me on a different path than
Okay.
So, but that's how life goes. It's no blueprint to life. We always have this idea and this plan in our minds, but at the end of the day, God has the ultimate say so, and
Mm-hmm.
He took me to a different path.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I ended up exactly where I was supposed to be. So.
Okay. So in this time, um, Arthur, did you ever feel the need to blame anybody? Because anytime we do anything, and you hear a lot now, people say, well, my daddy wasn't there, so this is why I do this, or my mama had to work 4 or 5 jobs and she had this many boyfriends, this and that and the other. Did you ever feel as though that you blamed maybe your upbringing or anybody else that caused you to make the decisions that you made?
It's funny you asked that question, because I was literally talking to a coworker about that this morning when I got out of work. And I was telling him how my upbringing compared to where I ended up it was like night and day.
Mm-hmm.
Like I had no excuse. I had no excuse to do what I did. None
Mm-hmm.
whatsoever. Despite my father not being there, my mom, whether she did it on purpose or it was by accident, she still made sure that I had positive male role models in my life.
Mm-hmm.
I always had positive male role models in my life, whether it be my uncle, family friends. I can use your husband for example. Like he was a positive role model in my life.
Mm-hmm.
So my father not being there, I could never use that excuse ever.
Mm-hmm.
My mom did everything that you would want a mother to do. I had 100% of the things that I needed, and about 95% of the things that I wanted.
Definitely.
I mean, it was no excuse whatsoever to end up where I went. And I remember talking to my coworker, because he asked me, he was like, "So do you think that your upbringing had anything to do with it?" And I told him, I told my mom that don't ever think for one second that I ended up in prison because of something she did or didn't do. Me being in prison was 100% on me. I've always taken that responsibility. I've always hung my hat on that because that's what it was. Nobody made me do what I did. It wasn't because I was raised in the hood or didn't didn't get hugged enough or didn't get kissed enough or didn't have the new shoes or anything. No excuse. I had all of that. I had all of that and some. So I've always taken that responsibility because people need to understand you don't always have to come from a bad area or come from a bad upbringing to end up in prison. That's just not. I met a lot of good people that were in there, you know what I mean, and they come from all different walks of life. It's just all it takes is just one mistake. That's it, just one, and you can end up. So yeah, I always took responsibility for that.
Okay, well that's good. That's good because as you said, people it's easy to blame others. It's
Right.
easy to put the responsibility or the blame on someone else of the decisions that we've made, whether they were conscious or unconscious. That we said, well, if it hadn't been for this, and this. So I commend that you accepted the responsibility. So, in I guess my other question is that when you woke up that first morning and things happened the way that they did, was it something planned or you just I'm gonna do it?
It was one of those things where it was just I'm gonna just do it. It was never something that had this elaborate plan and this elaborate
Mm-hmm.
scheme going on. It was just
Mm-hmm.
something that when you I mean, how can I put this? Okay, so when you are young and impressionable, sometimes you just do things just because. You don't even really need a reason.
Okay.
And so that was definitely the case with me. Like I had no reason. I have no like if you think about it, I had no reason to do
Right.
it.
As a mother and looking at the what you had, the upbringing that you had, and like you said, the positive people that were in your life, I the only thing I could say was, why or
Right,
what happened,
right.
and so but if there's sometimes in life, in order to get us where we need to be, we sometimes have to take the low road. We have to make pit stops into areas that no one would ever think that will get us to where we need to be.
Right.
And so I think that in that, because things have turned out so differently for you, that definitely could have been the road that needed to be taken for you to have a platform that you have now. As Gary and I were talking before we got on the air, and I told him, I said, Arthur is so positive. I said, I know that physically his dad wasn't there. I said, but now he's a dad. I said, and what he's pouring into his son, being as young as he is, it's going to take him further. It's going to take him a long way because Arthur is pouring into him. Not only does he pour into his son, but yet he pour into men, specifically African American, because that is his platform. But what Arthur talks about and what he pour into people does is not a black or white thing. And so that to me, one of the reasons why I think that you are so dope, as the young kids say, with that. So Arthur, being where you were in prison, it gave you a lot of time to think.
Yes.
What were some of the things? I know one of the first thing on your mind was your mom, because you and your mom still have, I believe,
Mhm.
an amazing relationship. And she never, ever, ever turned her back on you.
Right.
People, I need you all to know that was it every birthday, Arthur?
Mhm.
They would come, she would gather his friends, and he has aunts who just think the world of him, and they would go and see him, and they would take a picture, and they did this every year for I don't know how many years. So while you were in there, Arthur, what was some of the things that you thought about, and I guess you regret? I'm sure you regret you got caught, but any regrets and the things that you taught that help reshape and remold you into the young man that you are today?
Okay, so some of the first things that came to mind was, well, the very first thing that came to mind was when they let me out of here, they're never gonna see me again. Like
All right now.
I'm not coming back. Like I made that decision on day one. I didn't know how much time I was facing. I didn't know how long I was gonna be. Like I didn't know the road ahead of me. I didn't know anything. All I knew for sure, the one thing I knew for sure was when they decide to let me go, whether it be next week, next year, 10 years, 15, however long it takes, they will never see me again. That was the very first thing that I said. Like literally the very
Okay.
first. As far as regret, regret went away actually. It went away because I met so many people that I probably would have never met had I not been locked up. And I
Wow.
was able to have a positive influence on those people. So that right there let me know. I said, okay, despite me not wanting to be here, despite things not going the way that I planned them to go, I'm exactly where I need to be right now. Like that made me such a believer in God's timing. Like
Wow.
God's timing is always perfect. We always have this plan, this elaborate scheme that we come up with. And we say, okay, I'm gonna be married by the time I'm 30. I'm gonna be a millionaire by the time I'm 40. And we have all these plans. I'm gonna have a family. And the whole time, God just sitting there like, okay, are you done? Okay, now this is what you're gonna do. You know, and that's just how it is.
Mhm.
What one of the things that made me get through was like you said, how my friends and family would get together every year. Like Tia, matter of fact, Tia just sent me one of those pictures not too long ago. One of those pictures. She
Mhm.
said, "Do you remember this picture?" And I'm like, "How can I forget? How can I forget that?" Like the picture grew every single year. I was seeing my little cousins grow up through these pictures. Like it was
Yeah.
getting bigger and bigger. It was people that I had to call my mom several times and say, "Hey mom, who are these people?" Like I didn't even know who they were. Like it was just random people just jumping in these pictures all of a sudden. Like
Uh-huh.
it was amazing. Like but I think the hardest thing for me was, being away from family, being away from friends, seeing the hurt and the disappointment that my mom would have when she would come see me.
Mhm.
I think it was mostly because she felt that I was there because of something that she did. But like once I told her that, once I expressed to her that no, this was on me, this wasn't on you, you could
Mhm.
see the relief, come across her face. So that was good. Um, the the hardest part, like I said, the hardest part was definitely just being away from
Get
family.
away from your family.
Yeah, being away
Okay.
from and being told what to do when it's like that's of course that's difficult. But
Right.
it was mostly just being away from the people who actually loved and cared for me.
Mhm.
And I didn't really think about it like this, but my mom actually did the time with me, figuratively, of course, not literally.
Yeah. Mhm.
Figuratively, she was renting cars and getting hotels to come see me, sending me money and asking this person for a ride and doing this like so it was that time that I did. I didn't do it alone. I was alone physically, but
Right.
emotionally and spiritually, I had so many people who were praying for me, who were just thinking about me, and that I'm sure had a huge part of my success during my
Wow.
incarceration and after.
Hmm. Okay, so now let's move forward now. When you found that you were going to be, when you were told that you were going to be released, I know you were ecstatic and probably afraid as well because you had been away for so long. What were your thoughts on that?
Um, well, for me personally, I wasn't really afraid. I was mostly just anxious.
Mm,
Because and the reason why I wasn't afraid was because I was able to transition down. So I went from the maximum security prisons to the medium security, the level one,
okay.
work release, the Kimbrough Center, ended up going to the Kimbrough Center back in Lake County. So I was
Hmm.
able to transition down step by step by step. So I even got to a place that was in Indianapolis, IREF, where we were actually able to wear our own clothes. Um, our family was able to come in and like go to church services with us. We had regular food,
Wow.
able to like sit down and have conversations with people who weren't locked up. So I was able to do all of those things, and so me getting out, it wasn't that I was afraid. It was just I was just anxious of the
Mm,
not knowing exactly what's going to happen. But
right.
I had so many people who were just in my corner and waiting and willing to help. Like
Mm.
I had a job, I had a car, and a place to live before I even got let go.
That is amazing.
So
That's amazing. So, what, again, going forward, now you're out. You said you had all these things in place now. Who is Arthur?
Arthur is first and foremost a God fearing man, obviously. I a father,
Mhm.
which I'm so excited about that. A son. My parents stay with me now. I'm gonna kick them out
Never.
though. A friend, just someone who appreciates everything that life throws my way, the good and the bad. I take it all. I take it all, the good and the bad, because I know
Mhm.
that I'm a strong believer in that God never places more than you can handle, and that's with positive and negative things. So I'm just someone who just takes everything in as it comes and just goes from there. Like I appreciate everything.
Okay. So what's in the future for Arthur?
In the future for me is just to continue to be the best dad that I can be to my son. Be the best because well, I got another baby on the way too. So that a daughter, I have a daughter on the way. So I'm
All right now.
definitely want to be the best father that I can be to my kids. That's on the top. That's at the top of my list. Like that's at the top
Hmm.
of my list. I don't think enough of our children get enough of the love that they need. Um,
That's true.
and so that's something I've always looked forward to just be able to guide and love and protect and do all the things that you're supposed to do as a father, as a parent, and just that's at the top of my list. Um, Another thing will probably be just to become debt free.
Mm.
Uh, it's good to not have to worry about debt. I'm on my way with that, so that's always good.
Hmm.
Continue to take care of my parents, be the best son that I can be. Just continue to get better. That's
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
goal. I'm
Yeah.
trying to get improved.
That that is amazing. So, I guess now, Arthur, you've done what you needed, what happened, you took responsibility for it, you did your time, you've out now, you're doing amazing. Your family's coming back together. That's always amazing. You have now we have about 20 minutes left, and you don't have to take the whole 20 minutes.
Okay.
But if there's a young man, because we're on many platforms right now that we go out and people are able to hear us and see us, um, what would be a word of encouragement that you could give? Did you need to say something, Gary?
before he answers that, one, thank you for being on Morning Coffee with the Word.
Thank you for having me.
But before you answer that, we want it real, raw, and relevant. We don't sugarcoat this show. We don't. We get straight to the chase. So that because I was getting ready, Dr. J, you was all in my brain. But we want to touch. Our goal is to touch our youth, and that's the reason why Elevate Life is spelled Lyfe, due to the fact that it's loving youth forever. Um, so we want it real, raw, and relevant. So whatever you could do, and the stage is yours. But Dr. J, go ahead.
Yeah, just if you have, um, and I know you do. It's no if. Give words of encouragement, because in the world that we're living in now, it's no secret to what's going on with the George Floyd and the young man who just got killed in Chicago, or what have you, and their profiling and what just a lot of stuff. But yet, I mean, these are the type of things that we know living in the last days, that these things are going on. But what can you say right now, Arthur, to be an encourager to some young man who may, or young lady, because now we have just as many young ladies who are battling something, to say to them, to encourage them, to let them know that some of the choices that they make, they don't have to make them. The floor is yours. What kind of encouragement can you offer a young lady, young man now that's listening?
Okay. So first, what I would like to say first, I'd like to piggyback on what you said about, what's going on in these times with, George Floyd and the young men, and I want to say it was in Minnesota again, another guy in Minnesota, and then another young
Yeah.
man. First, I want to say that that's not new to
True.
all the kids, to all the young kids who think that this is just started happening overnight. It hasn't. This is something that's been going on for longer than I've been alive. I'll be 41. It's been long. It's been, so that was, I was born in 1980. So this has been going on long before I came around. The only difference is now it's being televised. That's why more people are paying attention to it. But this has been going on. So I need my young black men and black women to know that it doesn't matter how you dress, it doesn't matter how you talk, it doesn't matter how you act, it doesn't matter what school you go to, what type of car you drive, who your parents are, who your friends are. None of that matters. At the end of the day, you have to carry yourself a certain way, because just because of the color of your skin makes you a threat. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. It's not fair. I understand. I get it. But that's just how life is right now. That's just how it is. You can't get around it. So, as a parent now, I think about this. I think about that more and more, because I have to raise my son different than our Caucasian counterparts, because they don't have to worry about certain things that we have to worry about, and that's just the reality of it. That's the reality of it. You see it, you live it, we live it, we see it, we hear about it, we read about it. It's just not the same. So they have to understand that when you do certain things, you just give them a reason. They don't need a reason. They really don't need a reason to do anything to you. But when you do certain things and you act a certain way, you give them a reason to do whatever they want to do. I give you an example. The other day what was it? Yesterday I got pulled over on the way coming from work. Now I will admit that my car does have some dark tint, but I make it a point to, and I'm going to get my tint changed. I'm just waiting to make the appointment now. But I make it a point that anytime I ride past law enforcement or law enforcement is anywhere around, I roll my windows down so they can see in the car. So you won't have any reason to say, "Oh, I couldn't see you in the car," because they love to say that. Roll the windows down. He pulls me over, and as he's coming up to the car, he literally says out of his mouth, "I pulled you over because I couldn't see in your car." Now, me knowing that that's not true at all, I had a decision. I can challenge what he just said. That would possibly escalate the situation. Or I can say, okay. So I went with the latter. I said, okay. So he asked me my license. Give him my license. He goes and does whatever he does. Of course, he's checking for warrants or whatever they're checking for. I'm clean. I'm good. He comes back. Yeah, well, I'm just going to give you a verbal warning. Have a nice day. So he was looking for a reason to say or do something to escalate the situation, but I never gave him one.
Yeah.
So not saying, because you do have cases where people comply 100% and they still get shot. However, when you comply, it gives you a better probability of surviving that encounter.
Wow.
It just does.
Yeah.
People don't want, people don't like to admit it. People don't want to admit it. Oh, racism doesn't exist. They don't treat blacks different as they treat that. No, let's not do that. let's not be naive to what's really going on in this country, and that has been going on for a very, very long time. A very long time. So as far as encouragement will be what you see as a finished product of me. Well, I'm still been, I'm a work in progress, but you understand what I'm saying. You don't have to go to prison to look like this. You can do it without going to prison. You can go to school. You can finish school. You can start a career, start a family. You can do all of those things that you want to do. Now, will kids make bad decisions? Sure, yes. But just be ready to accept those consequences when you make those bad decisions. So the best thing that I can ask of anybody who's listening to this, think before you do anything. Think about the consequences, because that's not what I did. You don't want to end up where I was for 13 years and 8 months. It is not pretty at all. It was not. I make it seem like it was easy, but it was not easy. I've seen the worst of the worst. I've seen people who should never walk the streets again. Those are the type of people that you will be around if you decide to commit crimes and do things you shouldn't be doing. You don't want to be around those type of people. Serial rapists, serial child molesters, serial murderers. Like, that stuff is real. The things that you see on TV, it happened before in real life. Like, I've seen it. I've seen people try to kill themselves. I've seen people get stabbed. I've seen people get beat up with locks, raped, all of that. Like, that stuff is a reality. You don't want to end up in a place like that. Not if you can help it. Not if you can help it. So my encouragement is to do good, continue to do good, listen to your parents. You think your parents are telling you things that they don't understand about? That's not true. They was y'all age before. It's nothing that y'all doing is new.
Yeah, that's true.
Everything that y'all do, we done already did that.
That's true.
Because I hear a lot of kids say all the time, "Oh, well, my parents, they just don't understand me." Sure they do. They were your age. They probably was worse than you. That's why they trying to tell you what's going on so they can prevent you from going down the path that they went down.
That's true.
And that's just that. And that's just the reality of it. Like, kids have to understand that when parents say certain things, it's not just to say it. It's not just because. It's a reason behind it. Because as a parent, our number one thing is to protect our children at all costs.
That's right.
So that's what we're trying to do. So never take it as if, oh, my dad don't understand or my mom don't understand. Yes, they do understand. They understand completely. And they are trying to warn you because they see the danger. They know what it is. See, you guys did a great job. You guys did a great job at shielding us from the world. We had no idea how dangerous the world was. None.
Yeah, you're right.
But now everyone knows how dangerous the world is. The world has always been dangerous.
Yeah,
It's always been dangerous. It's just now everybody knows.
yeah,
And now you can't say, well, I didn't know. Sure you do. All you gotta do is turn the TV on. All you gotta do is pick up your phone. It's right there in your face.
yeah.
Nothing new
Wow.
under the sun.
Wow.
So that's my encouragement. Just listen to your parents. Go to school. Do right. Try to do. Always carry yourself as if your parents are watching you.
Mm-hmm.
If you do that,
Wow.
you're just fine.
Yeah. I do have one other question for you, Arthur. We're talking a lot about everything that is going on in the world, and they're talking about as much in Indianapolis. We just had a mass shooting last night. 19-year-old went in the FedEx building and killed 8 people. And the one thing that they were talking about, and now they're bringing up quite a bit now, is mental health. So my question to you, and all that you've gone through, the choices that you've made, and now you sit there looking amazingly handsome and just, you're just the bomb.com to me. Okay, I'm just gonna say it.
Thank you.
How is your mental health?
It's actually pretty good. And the reason why is because I acknowledge the fact that I needed help. Like we all need an outlet. Everyone needs an outlet.
Mm-hmm.
And black men, I know you can attest to this. We are taught to hold our emotions in, to never show weakness, to never cry, to never tell people how you feel. Like that's how we're raised. I mean, right now I'm yelling. I might yell at my son, "Don't you better stop crying," and then I have to you know what? This is a baby. He's a child. He doesn't understand that.
It hurts.
But that's how that's when you're raised a certain way. It's just passed down from generation to generation to generation.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's
it's
true.
up to break those generational curses. First thing you got to do is acknowledge the fact that you need help. It's okay. I can't do it alone. It's okay to say that because you can't do it alone. This world will crush into the ground if you allow it to. If you don't have some type of outlet, someone you can call, someone you can talk to, and you holding all that in, and what happened today is a prime example. I'm sure there were signs going on with that young man. Mm-hmm. I'm sure it was a cry for help. I'm sure nobody just wakes up and says, you know what? I'm going to go kill 8 people. No, something built up to that. He said something to somebody, and it was passed off just because, oh, man up. Stop.
Well, he did say the mom did say that back in March she did call the police because she felt that he was suicidal, and they did come out and they did take him, and they took a shotgun from him. Now I don't know what happened after that. They took the shotgun. He never got the shotgun back. So in defense of her, I don't know how far she went or if it stopped right there, but she did recognize that there was some kind of problem. Maybe once that was done, then she, kind of thought maybe, that was over with. But
not to try to downplay what she did, because I commend that. However, in what cases does law enforcement really help our kids? I can't think of one, honestly. And I know some people who are in law enforcement who are good people. But overall,
I do too.
In what case does law enforcement ever help people that look like us, especially our young kids? And it's easy to say what you should and shouldn't do when you're not in that situation. I get that.
True.
But my job that I had was at a social service place when I first came home. So it was therapists there. We need therapy. Period. People need therapy. Especially when you see all the traumas that you see. Like, you know how I was when I was growing up. So
Yeah.
to see the things that I saw at that young of an age will
Yeah.
mess you up. It will mess you up mentally. PTSD is a real thing. It is not something that just somebody just made up one day. Like, that is real. Post-traumatic stress disorder, that is real. And we don't want to talk about that, and especially in the Black community. The Black
Yeah.
community, oh, we don't, no, ain't nothing wrong with me. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It's not normal to see some of the things that our kids see. It's not normal.
Yeah.
And what we're doing is we're normalizing saying it, making it seem as if it is normal when it's not. Therapy is huge. People need to recognize the signs, and people need to stop downplaying it, because therapy is very important, especially in our community.
Yeah. Well, Arthur, I thank you. I thank you so very much for considering and being so open and transparent with your life on this platform, and sharing with us. As a matter of fact, we will be bringing you back once that book comes out, because I know that there is a book. It has to be a book coming out. So I thank you so very much for coming on and sharing with us on Morning Coffee with the Word. Tell your mom and dad I said hi. You take care. I love you. And if there's anything that we here at Morning Coffee with the Word, myself or Gary or I can do anything to help you in whatever platform you're on to get your voice out, please do not hesitate. You have different forms of getting in contact with me.
I
So
do.
we're here for you. We love you and thank
Love
you
you.
so very much.
All right, thanks for having me. Thank you.
Thank you. Wow, Dr. J. Wow, that was
Yeah.
good. We
Yeah.
could have went on for a whole nother hour, but we don't.
Yeah. Yeah.
We got to
Yeah.
figure out, Dr. J, on how to say goodbye to our online listeners and tell them to tune back in for next week, and then we can keep the Morning Coffee with the Word Facebook page just keep scrolling.
Yeah.
We'll figure that out. We'll figure, because
Yeah.
some conversations I'm like, nah, I don't want to stop. I don't want
Yeah.
to stop.
Exactly.
But I do
Yeah,
know
it
that we
is.
got a couple of announcements that we got to get out.
Okay.
Let's not forget about Pastor Wilford's
Yes.
album. That's actually, the album releases in a few days.
Yes.
April 23rd. Everybody go to Spotify, Apple Music. You got Deezer, YouTube. You got all these outlets that you can go download this album. Please go out and support him, and just let him know, look, I'm supporting you. We love you. And I know that as soon as it's released, we're going to download our copy, and we're going to get some on the air so
Yeah.
people can hear. Then also, let's just keep the families in the FedEx shooting in
Yes.
your guys' prayer.
Mhm.
Let me just say this, and then I want to just have Dr. J pray us out. We know that everyone wants gun law changes. We understand that we want to see gun law changes, but we have to remember guns don't kill people.
The
People
people.
kill people.
Mhm.
It don't matter how many guns you try to ban. If somebody wants a gun, they're going to find that gun.
Mhm.
So let's keep them families in prayer. Dr. J, if you could also keep Amanda in prayer, Adrian in prayer, and then also your nephew in prayer,
Definitely will.
that will be greatly appreciated. Dr. J, will you pray us out?
Father God, we thank you for this day. We thank you for Arthur, oh God. We thank you for his transparency. We thank you, oh God, for you keeping him and leading him. Now, God, continue to cover him. Lord God, the names that were called out, the families of the FedEx shooting, oh God, Christopher, Amanda, Adrian. Lord God, meet them at every point of their need right now in the name of Jesus. God, I speak life. I speak peace in the name of Jesus. I speak, oh God, that doors will open, those that need to be in shut right now in the name of Jesus, oh God. Now, as we go into next week, watch over us and take care of us, oh God. Lead us and guide us in the way that you would have us to go. Not our will, but your will be done in us, with us, and through us. And God will forever give your name the glory. The more the word, oh God, the glory of you, oh God, and we'll say thank you, and amen. You're listening to Morning Coffee with the Word. I'm Dr. J,
And I am the president.
and we will see you guys next week. We love you. Bye
Love you.
bye.
Bye.
Let's go. Yeah. Let's do it. If you know you got favor on your life, sing this.
I'm God, and I love it. The favor of God is all over me.
Yeah.
I'm God, and I love
I
it.
got it.
The favor of God is all over me. I'm God, and I love it. The favor of God is all over me. I'm God, and I love it.
Favor.
The favor of God is all over me.
And I ain't even asked for this, y'all.
And it ain't my fault.
Hey, yeah. Why you mad at me?
And it ain't my fault.
I want to do that again, A-Ron. Say, I got it. Yeah.
And I love it.
Favor.
The favor of God is all over me. I'm God, and I love it. The favor of God is all over
I
me.
got it.
I'm God,
I love it.
and I love it.
You love it?
The favor of God is all over me. I'm God, and I love it.
God gave it to me. It's all over me. And it ain't even my fault.
And it ain't my fault.
Yeah. If you know favors on your life, say,
And it ain't my fault.
favor ain't fair, but it surely is fun. Say,